Hi there, welcome to Still Learning, the space where we celebrate growth in all its messy, beautiful, and raw forms. I'm your host, Fortune Fowle, and if you're here, you're right where you need to be because here we're embracing the beauty of being works in progress. Today's episode is one that I know that my fellow graduates will be able to resonate with me on, or just anyone undergoing a major transition in their life. My graduation day is approaching fast, like really fast, and lately I found myself standing at the edge of this huge transition, this whole new chapter awaiting me. And honestly, I don't have all the details figured out. There's no neat little plan, no step-by-step, and I'll admit, that feels daunting. But God reminded me of something that has completely shifted how I'm walking through this season right now, and it is already prepared. So let's dive in to what it looks like to trust in a God who has already prepared a place for you. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Still Learning, another Monday, another week, another Still Learning Monday. I'm so happy that you have come and joined me here. I'm so grateful that you are here. Whether you're tuning in on a walk, in your car, or lying in bed, I'm truly thankful you decided to join this conversation today. As I'm sure you guys know by now, I am graduating college soon, and graduation is coming very quickly. I had no idea how quickly time can go by. And lately, because of that, I've been reflecting a lot and preparing as well, trying to figure out what my next steps are. Because from kindergarten to college, life has always had some kind of structure. Knowing of what your next step is, even if you didn't necessarily fully understand it, you still had an idea of what your next step is going to look like. But after college, it's like suddenly you're handed a blank page and expected to write the next chapter of your life without any kind of outline. And that's been something I've really been struggling with. And then I had to remind myself that, hold on, I'm not even the author of my own story. I didn't even write the beginning. So what makes me think that I can write the next step or even write my end? God did. He is the author, the finisher of my story, of my faith, the one who completes me. So I had to remind myself of the one who I truly should be seeking and relying on to help me navigate what is next in my life because I didn't pen the story, he did. Despite reminding myself of that very important truth, I can still say this season hasn't been the easiest one to navigate. I still have my struggles here and there, and in fact, I was talking to one of my sisters in Christ recently when I was having a pretty hard day, and since she went through this season already last year, having graduated college, it was great to be able to get on the phone with her and really talk to her about what I've been going through. And she reminded me that this is an in-between season, right? And it's real. Navigating adulthood, job applications, housing, finances. I mean, the cost of living crisis right now is a lot to handle as someone who's about to step out into the real world outside of this academic bubble I've been in for the last 2 decades of my life. And I even started thinking about things like, how do you even make friends as an adult? I mean, in school, right, you are guaranteed to come across someone with the same interests as you, same edge as you, like you're put in the same grade with people who share like interests with you. So you are bound to make a friend with someone, right? There's a convenience with campus life and school when it comes to forming relationships with people because all of you guys just come together and meet in this one singular spot all the time. But that's not even going to be the case anymore once I graduate from college. And so what do you do when things that were a place of convenience to you are no longer there? And so as I'm just vocalizing this to her and she's just affirming me and my emotions, she's also reminding me of truth and encouraging me with truth. And she said something so simple but powerful, which is just to press into the Lord. Because in this time, especially in this time, he is more than enough to see me through it all. And I found that to be true. Even while saying all of this, I can genuinely say I have experienced peace that surpasses all understanding, guys. Like, people in my nursing cohort would be like, you're so optimistic, you're so hopeful for the future, like, you're just so grateful. And genuinely, it's because of the Lord. Like the struggles that I am experiencing within this season are nothing compared to the peace that he's giving me. And it just reminds me of how Jesus slept in a boat in the middle of a storm. Like, even though it may seem like there could be a storm raging around me and in my life, even in my inside, I have a peace that surpasses all understanding. I have a hope and a reassurance that I am rooted in. So I'm not just casted aside into the waves. In this week particular, the Lord has been so gracious and so gentle and loving with me and walking with me in this season, because he knows I'm a type A and I like to have a plan and figure things out. But he has just been so patient with me. And he gently reminded me this week and is still reminding me. It's so wonderful seeing how intentional God is and how he moves in our lives. And what he spoke to me this week that I've really just been meditating on, and what I am so happy and eager to share with you guys in this conversation, is that it's already prepared. And when I say that it's already prepared, I don't mean it in a casual or passive way or I love Jesus way, though I do. I mean it in the biblical, deeply comforting, deeply intentional kind of way. I mean it in the way where you realize that God has already gone ahead of you. He's already written the next chapter. Even if you haven't read the page yet, the job I'm applying for, he's already prepared it. The city I'll move to, he's already made space for me there. The friendships, the community, the purpose I'm stepping into after this chapter of college ends, it's already laid out for me. Before I was even formed in my mother's womb, the Lord had planned it out for me and with me in mind. And I don't say that to sound overly optimistic. I say that to encourage you and anyone who is in a similar position and spot that I'm in right now. I say that because the word reminds me of it. Ephesians 2:10 says that we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works. You were created to do good works. And the verse doesn't stop there, because it says, which he prepared in advance for us to do. In advance, God prepared good things for you to do. So you're a good thing made to do good things. And he prepared it in advance. That means before you even seen it, thought of it, even knew it existed, he had already put in place for you to experience. I held on to the fact that it's already prepared. So that means my job isn't to figure it all out. My job is just to trust. A lot of the times I feel like that's probably the hardest things we might just struggle with in our faith. It's just like trusting and depending on the Lord completely, not impartiality. And that's just my job right now in this season, to be still, to stay rooted in God's presence and be obedient to his leading, to listen, to be an active listener with the Lord. I can yap. I really can. And the Lord listens to my yapping, but let me also make sure I'm listening to him so I don't miss guidance and direction. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't still have moments of stress or confusion. I do. I just choose to surrender them at his feet. I don't have to carry it alone. He made it very clear that he wants to take all my burdens and he will give me his burden, which is light. So I can lay that at his feet, because why am I trying to carry what God already said he's taking care of? The truth is he's not asking me to be the architect of my life. He's already designed the blueprint. He's just asking me to partner with him in faith. And that's just even crazy to say, to think about. Like, wow, God, thank you for even considering me in that way. You want to partner with me. You really don't have to. But he's just so considerate of us. And just his love is so great. It's so deep. I can talk about it all the time because it's just so profound. With his love and the peace that I've been feeling lately, I'm not having this peace because I know all the details and God has given me this dream of revelation and this step-by-step plan. No, it just came from me knowing him. I don't know what's ahead, but I know him, so I'm good. I don't need to have it all figured out. That kind of peace, it doesn't always make sense on paper. I know it wouldn't make sense to a Fortune a year ago. Like me a year ago would not understand how I can be so at peace right now. But like I was telling my friend the other day, though this might be probably one of the most uncertain seasons in my life, one of those times I felt really unsure about what's next, it's also one of the most secure I felt in the Lord. Like, the peace I'm walking in right now is not just because I have a 5-year plan, because I don't even think I have a year plan. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. But it's because I know God does. Listen, many are the plans in the heart of man, but it's God's will that would prevail. So I can come up with the plans. I can plan from A to Z, but if none of those are aligned with his will, they won't happen. So I might as well partner with the one whose will and plan is always guaranteed to happen. And so one of the things that's helped anchor me in this season is the book of Esther. The Holy Spirit really led me to start reading it. I really wasn't sure why, because I've read it a couple times, and don't get me wrong, I love the book of Esther, but I was like, I don't really know how this book in particular is going to relate to the season I'm going through. And I had that thought, and then I gave it up to the Lord, and I said, you know what, God, that was kind of arrogant of me, kind of prideful of me to think like I know everything. Very human of me. And I said, you know what, Lord, I surrender to this, and reveal to me what I don't know. There is much more that I need to learn and understand. So bring it to me. Teach me. I want to be a surrendered student right now to you. So I don't miss what you're trying to teach me. I don't want to miss the lesson, because if I miss the lesson, how can I apply it to my life? So I've been reading the book of Esther, and yeah, I did not know everything. And the Lord works in mysterious ways, because Jenny, I couldn't see how the book of Esther could apply to my life. And if you never read the book of Esther, basically it's during the Persian Empire. An enemy, one of the royal officials in the king's palace, rises up and wants to destroy all the Jews. And Esther, who becomes a new queen during that time, is a Jew, and she saves her people from being killed off. Right? That's just like a brief synopsis. There's a lot more that goes into it, so definitely read it. But as I've been reading it, sitting with it, it first really stood out to me how quietly God is moving in the book of Esther. God's name isn't mentioned once in the entire book. And yet, without a shadow of doubt, his hand is all over that story. Every decision, every delay, every plot twist, it's so clearly and perfectly done. It could only be orchestrated by God. And it reminded me that sometimes God's hand isn't loud. It's not always going to be a burning bush, but a gentle whisper in the wind. Sometimes it's subtle, but that doesn't mean he's not moving. That doesn't mean he's not working. God works 24/7 around the clock. He doesn't sleep. He's always working nonstop to ensure that we have a future that is full of hope and prosperous, and that everything is working for our good. None of us work 24/7, but we serve a God who works 24/7 on our behalf. Esther, when she became this new queen, she had no idea that God put her in that position for a purpose, and that purpose was to save her people. She had no idea. She didn't know if her obedience would cost her everything, because it required her to do something that could cost her life. But what she didn't know was that she was being positioned for something greater. And that's how I'm choosing to see this season, that I am being put in position for something greater, and that there is a greater purpose in all of this, and God is using all of it for my good. He is guiding me to the exact place that I need to be, because that's exactly what he did with Esther. He guided her to the palace. He placed her there. He allowed her to have favor amongst men, surrounded her by the right people. Esther didn't do that herself, but because she was obedient and just trusted God, she was able to see his will, great and amazing will, just unravel in her life. And I want that to be reflected in my own life. Because even though I don't have all the answers, and even though I can't map out what the next few months will look like, I trust the one who sees the whole picture. I trust the God who's never been late. The God who prepares the table before my enemies. He is a God who prepares the table before my enemies. And I remember I was at a conference at my church, and Travis Green actually preached about this. This is specifically from Psalm 23, where it tells us that God prepares the table before our enemies. And Travis says something that I missed the first couple times I read this verse, but this time around, ever since he said that, I have not been able to look at the verse the same. And he said, before your enemies. which means that God prepared a table before your enemies. It doesn't mean he prepared it before you. It doesn't say like he prepared a table before you, but he prepared it before your enemies. And that really resonated with me. If I'm not at the table, that means I don't know what's prepared yet. I just have to trust that whatever God has prepared before me has to be great. And it has to be, because if he's preparing it before my enemies and now my enemies are coming after me, they clearly don't want me to be able to receive what God has prepared. So if the enemy's trying to stand in the way of me receiving what God has prepared, it has to be something magnificent. It has to be something great. It has to be something mind-blowing. It has to be something full of life and purpose. So that means I got to receive it. I have to receive it because it is mine to receive. The Lord prepared it for me. And so I want to receive his preparations for me. And the God who works all things together, not just the joyful moments, but even the confusing, stretching, in-between ones for our good and for his glory. I want to be able to see him do that within my life. And when you're in that in-between, when things feel unclear and you're not sure what step to take next, for me, what has really helped me navigate the in-between is just being deeply rooted in the fact that God has never failed me and he won't. It's this steady, quiet hope I carry with me. Like, I'm just so full of hope for the future. Despite the trials and tribulations I also know that I will face, I am just so hopeful because I know my end will be better than my beginning. And I know that no matter what my circumstances look like, his promises still stand. I may not know how or when it will all unfold, but I fully believe I will see and live out the very things he's spoken over my life. I literally told God, this is no shade to Moses, but I don't want to just see the promised land. I want to live out in the promised land. And what I was just telling God was like, God, I don't want to just see your promises for me. I don't want to just hear your promises for me. I want to live them out. And how do you do that? Is by being obedient to him. Because the only reason why Moses only saw the promised land and wasn't living it out was because he was disobedient. So your obedience allows you to receive the promises of the Lord, to receive the great things that he's prepared in advance for you to do. Because also, it's not like he prepared bad things for you. What he prepared for you is good. I don't know about you, but I like to receive good things. And when I look back over my life, every moment, every transition, every closed door and divine delay, I can say with full confidence, he has always been preparing me for something greater. Like, just when I thought it is too good to be true, it literally gets better. You want to know why? Because his word states better days are ahead of you. So if you think you're at your peak, oh, you have not seen nothing yet, you barely scratched the surface when it comes to God. And that is so encouraging to hear, especially when you are in seasons in life where you don't even know what's ahead of you. But you do know that if you see another day, if you see many more days, they're better days. Even if you don't know what's ahead, you at least know that it's better than what you're currently at. So that's why I've started thanking him in advance. I wake up and say, Lord, I may not see the full picture yet, but thank you for what you've already written. My story's already written, and the end is victory. Through Jesus, I already have a victorious end. There's no doubt about that. So thank you for the job that you've already aligned. Thank you for the future community I'll be a part of. Thank you for the relationships. Thank you for the purpose you're still unfolding before me. And in doing this, I'm not doing wishful thinking. I'm worshiping, because gratitude is my way. And I think it's one of the greatest ways for a believer and anyone, honestly, to stay grounded in what they know is true, even when our circumstances haven't caught up yet. Showing up in this season doesn't look like having it all figured out. It looks like obedience. It looks like stillness when I want to rush. It looks like praying even when I don't know what to say. It looks like applying to the job even if I'm unsure. It looks like showing up for class, serving where I can, being present with people, and staying in the Word even when the future feels blurry. It's reminding myself daily that I don't have to chase what's already mine. It's already mine. I don't have to perform for something God has already prepared. I think we often believe we have to bring God our polished prayers or our put together selves, but the truth is he meets us right where we're at. And he's been meeting me in my restlessness, in my searching, in the moments where I whisper, Lord, I trust you, but this is hard. And he always responds, not always in a loud or dramatic way, but in the gentle nudges, in the people, in his word, in day-to-day life moments, in the unexpected peace that settles in my chest, in the reminder that I'm not behind, that he's not in a rush. So why am I in a rush? That he's not holding out on me. He's just building something worth the wait. And if he's building something for me that's worth the wait, he's also preparing me to carry that weight of what he has built. That's the beauty of walking with Jesus in uncertain seasons. You start to realize that uncertainty around you doesn't have to create uncertainty within you. Because if your hope is in Christ, then your future isn't fragile. It's firm. It's not built on circumstances. It's built on the solid foundation of who God is. And because of that, I don't need to know the how. I just need to know the who. So maybe that's the real lesson here, guys. Like in this season, I'm not being called to figure it all out. I'm being invited to trust the one who's been preparing me while preparing the promise, the one who is not only faithful to complete the good work he began in me, but he who already finished it before I got here. So if you're in a similar season, maybe you're standing at your own kind of edge, whether it's graduation, a job transition, a move, a relationship shift, and you're wondering, how's it all going to come together? If that's you, I just want to remind you, you're not late, you're not lost, and you're not forgotten. The same God who saw the end from the beginning is the same God who is walking with you step by step even now. You don't have to have all the answers to rest in his promise. You don't have to see the full picture to trust the one who painted it. You are held by a God who never improvises, who never forgets, and who never fails. And if you ever start to doubt that, just look back. He has a stacked resume, okay? Like, look at how far he's already brought you. Every closed door, every open door, every redirection, every season that didn't make sense at the time, it all came together for your good. And it's all working for what's coming. So as I sit in this space, as my graduation continuously encroaches upon me, I'm learning to release the pressure to have it all figured out. I'm learning to let go of the need for every detail to make sense. Because at the end of the day, I'd rather walk in an unknown future with a known God than walk in a known plan without him. I'm not striving to make it happen. I'm showing up with faith, with obedience, and with the quiet confidence that everything he has for me is already prepared. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Still Learning. I hope this conversation gave you some peace, a little perspective, and a whole lot of reassurance that you are not alone in this season. We may not have all the answers, but we serve a God who does. And that truth alone is enough to keep going. If this episode resonated with you, please share with a friend. And if you're not already, make sure to follow @StillLearningPod on Instagram. I'd love to hear your thoughts and continue this conversation with you. If you're enjoying the podcast, leave a rating or review. It helps others find this space and keeps this community growing. And as always, let me know how I can make this space better because I'm still learning too. Remember, what it is now is not what it will always be or what it will become. Stay encouraged, stay rooted in truth, and I'll see you next time for another episode of Still Learning.